The Gallows is a found footage horror film directed by Travis Clough and Chris Loafing, which takes place 20 years after a 1993 incident where a boy is accidentally hung due to a prop malfunction during a play of The Gallows. 20 years later, a group of students at the high school tried to perform the same play, but one of the lead actors is not feeling up to it, and one of his friends comes up to him with an idea on sabotaging the play in order to not be in it. However, the students get locked in the school and are haunted by the boy who was killed in 1993. Charlie. Going into this movie, I was very open-minded considering that there were negative reviews, because 1, horror movies are not positively reviewed nowadays, and 2, found footage horror movies are not positively reviewed nowadays. But me, as a fan of the found footage horror genre, I somewhat like this film. I mean, yes, it does have its problems with logic and pacing. I feel as though for first-time directors, they executed a pretty good horror film. The film is very creepy to look at, especially from the found footage point of view. The darkness in the school makes it even worse, and I honestly had no problem with any of the characters in this film whatsoever. They were pretty likable and relatable. The setup in this movie is actually really cool too. It's very relatable, it's a high school setting, we've all been there, and when it's revealed that why Charlie is actually doing the things that he's doing in the school, it's pretty understandable for the most part. But the film does have its faults. But if you go into this liking found footage horror films, I think you're definitely gonna like it. But this is a review, so I have to talk about faults. One of the things I look into found footage horror films are why is the camera being used in this situation? A found footage horror film has to have a good reason why a camera is there, and the audience needs to accept the reason why in order for the movie to continue on. Now these kids are breaking into a high school to sabotage the set. Even when the friend is approaching the main character about doing this, the friend is like, dude, turn your camera off. Like, why would you even be filming this? The main character doesn't even want the conversation to be filmed. But when they're actually sabotaging the set, he allows them to bring the camera into the school. Why would you do that? You're filming a crime! That's evidence! But I understand they needed the camera so the movie could continue on. Another thing that I found really weird about this movie plot-wise is why this high school was allowing this drama department to do this play where this kid had died in. I mean, seriously, like a kid died at that school and you want to perform the same play. That's like in bad taste. But I guess 20 years makes up for it! Another thing that I didn't like about this film was the pacing, and I think it's because of the amount of characters in the film. Now when the kids actually get into the high school, it feels long and overdrawn, and you're kind of just wanting something to happen. And I think it's because of the amount of characters in the film. I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but 4 kids actually go into the school. Well, actually it's originally 3, but then 1 shows up later, so it was originally intended to be 3 kids. I feel as though if there were more characters in the film that it would have made it more entertaining and less drawn out, and you know, there would have been more kills maybe. And we would have seen Charlie more often in the film instead of in the climax. But because of these small amount of characters, the middle of the film just seems long and overdrawn, which makes the climax the highlight of the film. Another problem that I had with the film, which I was kind of liking at first, were the different vantage points in the film. So when they go into the school, they're filming on an HD camcorder, and then during the middle of the film, one of the characters decides to film with his phone because it has a night vision app. Now during the beginning of this, I actually liked that because it showed what was happening while these other characters were over here. So yeah, I definitely liked those different vantage points in the film. I thought it was kind of creepy just showing what was going on this character's end. However, it got pretty confusing in this film. I mean, during the first parts of the film, it was pretty simplistic. It was like, okay, he's filming from his camcorder. Okay, he's filming from his phone. Okay, we're back to the camcorder. Okay, we're back to the phone. Wait, whose camera is this? Is this like a third camera? What's going on here? So yeah, I liked the vantage points in the film at first, but then it just got kind of confusing. Also, the ending of the movie had somewhat of a cool twist. I mean, it wasn't like a really stupid twist like M. Night Shyamalan, and it wasn't really creative like a Saw twist, but it was like, oh, okay. Alright, that's cool. Overall though, I thought this film was pretty entertaining for a horror film and a found footage film. If you're going into this film, you have to understand that this is a found footage horror film, and if you're going into it for that reason, I think you're going to enjoy it. If you don't like found footage horror films, then this just isn't for you. But for a found footage horror film done by first-time directors, I think it was very well done, and if you're looking for a horror film this weekend, I think you should really check out The Gallows. So yeah guys, that was my review of The Gallows, and if you liked my video, like it, share it, and please subscribe to the Pixel Talk channel. Also, comment down below what you thought of this movie. I would love to hear your opinions. Also, I have a skit channel that you guys should really check out. We just did a Shia LaBeouf parody this weekend, and I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. I'll put a link to the channel down below, and I'll also put a link to the recent video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out my content. I'm Corbin Stuckey, and this is Pixel Talk.